Hi everybody, today we're going to work on the area and circumference word problems. So what that means is that every problem is going to involve either area or circumference, but you have to read through the keywords to try to figure out which one it is. So how do we know? So if we look at the first example, you want to put a fence around a circular garden that has a diameter of 12 feet. How much fence would you need? So in general, if you're trying to go around the outside of a circle, that's going to be circumference. Circumference. Okay, so anything around a fence, if they say around the perimeter, because perimeter is the same thing as circumference in a circle. So now we solve it. So after you decide what you're using, remember circumference is also pi times diameter. That's the formula I prefer. We're going to start like we did on Tuesday, where every problem you're going to write down radius or diameter. Okay, so they gave us the diameter of 12, which would mean the radius is 6, because the radius is always half. So the reason why this is important, because now we're going to vary between area and circumference, so you'll have both of those there for whichever formula you need. So since we picked circumference, we're going to write down that formula, and then we're going to do pi and fill in the diameter and nearest hundredth. So we're now going to type it in, and we're going to write down the decimal. So if we do pi times 12, we get 37.7. So it's 0.699, which rounds to 0.7 up, and it's the nearest hundredth, so it's 0.70, because we want to make sure we have two decimal spots. Okay, this one, we're covering the garden. So if I'm going around, that's circumference. Anything where I'm filling the inside of the circle, covering or filling, that's going to be area. Okay, so I'm going to write down my radius and diameter because I'm talking about a circle. The radius is 7, which would mean the diameter is 14. I picked area, so I have to make sure I write down the area formula, pi r squared. So I'm going to fill in my radius, which is 7, and nearest hundredth again, so we're going to type it in the calculator. Pi times 7 squared. And if I do that, I get 153.94. Okay, so for each of these problems, we just have to decide if it's area or circumference. So the first one, the bicycle wheel has a diameter of 24. So right away I can write down diameter and radius. Okay, it wants to go 6 revolutions. So picture a bicycle wheel. Does a revolution mean inside the wheel or around the outside of the wheel? It means going around the outside of the wheel. So that means that we're going to pick circumference. Okay, so if that's the case, we're going to do pi times the diameter of 24, and we want to know 6 revolutions. So that would mean, and the directions say we're going to round everything to the nearest tenth, so I would do pi times 24. Since this is not my final answer yet, I'm not going to round to the nearest tenth yet. I have to wait till the last step to round to the nearest tenth. So for now, whenever you're not supposed to round yet, you want to keep 4 decimals. So right now I have 3982 for my circumference. That's 1 time around. That's 1 revolution. So 6 revolutions would be to times this, multiply this by 6. If I do that, I get 452. Now this is my final answer, so now I can round to the nearest tenth, which is 0.4. Okay? The next one, she needs to buy mulch for her circular garden with a radius of 5.5. So again, immediately I'm going to write down radius and diameter. If the radius is 5.5, I'm going to double that, and the diameter is 11. So think about a garden, right? A circular garden. If I'm putting mulch on it, mulch is like those little wood chips that you put over a garden. That means she's covering the whole garden with mulch. She doesn't just put mulch around the perimeter of it. So if that's the case, we're going to pick area. So we're going to write down that formula first. This, what each bag of mulch covers, we're going to wait till the end to use that. So right now we're just going to find the area she needs to cover. So that's this. I'm going to substitute in the radius. I'm going to type that in. And my area is 95.0332, and this is the total area I need to cover. Each one bag covers 32, so I'm going to divide this by the 32 to figure out how many bags I need to cover. So if I do that, I get 2.9698. I can't buy part of a bag, and I don't want to round down to 2 because then I won't have enough bags. So I'll need 3 bags of mulch altogether. Sorry, there's the rest of it. Okay, so you're making a decision, write it on the formula, which you can look up from up there, and then just make sure to read carefully if there's another part to the question. Okay, so number 3, Ed and Carol are jogging around a circular track. So they're going around the outside. So that means that it's going to be circumference. The diameter is 0.8. So diameter is 0.8, meaning the radius is 0.4. Find how many miles they jogged if they made 2 trips around. So I'm going to find the circumference using the diameter. So pi times 0.8, which gives me 2.5133. That's for one time around. If I'm doing 2 trips, I'm going to multiply that by 2. If I do that, I get 5.0. Okay. The next one, he wants to display his old pennies in a glass case. It takes up an area, this one actually says area, of 285 millimeters. What is the diameter of the penny? So over here, if I were to go to write down like diameter radius, they don't give me a diameter or radius, so I actually have nothing to fill in there. So I'm going to start with the fact that it says area, and I'm going to write down that formula. So now be careful on this one, because the area is 285, that has to get substituted in for the A. So I have 285 equals pi r squared. And we did ones like this on Tuesday, but on Tuesday there was a pi on both sides. Here there's only a pi on one side, but I still have to get the r alone, so I'm still going to start by dividing by pi on both sides. This, now the pi's don't cancel, so you can actually just use your calculator and type that in. So we're going to do 285 divided by pi, and I get 90.7183 equals r squared. And then if you remember from when we solved equations, we square rooted to get rid of the squared. So now I'm going to square root that, and I get r equals 9.5246. So if that's my radius, to get to the diameter, which is the one they want, we're just going to double it. And that gives us 19.0 for our diameter. Okay? Number 5, Dylan is trying to buy a cover for his drum. So if you think about the drum, he's trying to cover the whole thing, not just put it around the outside. So that's going to need area. The diameter is 14. So right away, then I can fill in that the radius is 7. So if I fill in my area and type it in, I get an area of 153.938. So that's the area I need to cover. So 2 covers. One is 153.9, the other is 234.5. So this is 938. So it's actually a little bit bigger than this 0.9. So if you've ever tried to put like a Tupperware lid on that's just a little too small, you'll know that even if it's just a teeny bit too small, that is not going to cover this area. You're going to try to get one side on and the other side's going to come off, and it's going to be not fitting. So even though this one has a lot of extra, you'd rather have the extra to drape over the sides than one that is a little too small. So that he's gonna want the one from Stern Music. Okay, number 6. A crater, a diameter of a little more than a half. So we're just going to use 1/2 for that. So we know that means the radius is half of that, or 1/4. Letitia walks around it, so around is indicating circumference at a rate of 2 miles per hour. How long will it take her to walk all the way around? So we're going to find our circumference first using our diameter. So I'm going to type that in the calculator, and I get 1.5708. Okay, so that's how many miles. She has to go a total of 1.5 miles, and she walks at a rate of 2 miles per hour. Okay, so I have to divide this by her 2 miles per hour to get how long it will take her to go the 1.5 miles. So if I divide that by 2, I get 0.8 hours. So a little less than an hour. Okay. And then the last few, number 7, the spotlight can be adjusted to effectively light a circular area of up to 6 meters in diameter. To the nearest tenth, what is the maximum area that can be lit? So it says area, so we're going to write the area formula. Then I'm going to write down my radius and diameter. It tells me 6 meters in diameter. So I fill that in for diameter. Radius is half. So area equals pi times radius squared. Type it in. And nearest tenth, we get 28.3. Okay, Jim has a circular pool with a 50-foot circumference. So again, we see the word circumference. So that's the formula I'm going to write down. He wants to swim laps across the center of the pool. So if I were to write down radius diameter, right now if I read through the problem, they don't give us the radius or diameter. There's nothing to fill in there. The only thing they give us is that the circumference is 50 feet. So that has to go in for the C. So 50 equals pi times diameter. So our goal is to solve for this. So we're going to divide by pi on both sides. And if we do that, we get 15.92. And he wants to swim across the center of the pool. So all the way across the center would be the diameter. So if we were doing nearest tenth, that would just be 15.9. Okay? So why don't you try 9 and 10 on your own. Try to decide if it's circumference or area. And then you could try those too. All right? That's it for today. Have a great day.